Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are gonna go over some things to do in Kauai that are not the Kalalau Trail. So last week I spent time on Kauai, which is one of Hawaii's beautiful islands, and in my opinion it is the most beautiful Hawaiian island. And I wanted to share with you a few things that you can do on the island that are not the Kalalau Trail. Originally I was supposed to do the Kalalau Trail with my Unbreakable Trek crew, so we had planned months and months in advance to be able to go out and actually experience the Nepali coast, but unfortunately the trail was actually closed, and we found out just a few days before that there was actually a norovirus outbreak on the trail. So last minute we had to make some changes to the itinerary, but honestly I feel like it was for the better. We experienced so many incredible things, and I want to share some of those things with you today. A quick note on the Kalalau Trail and the Nepali coast. I believe the Kalalau is one of the most epic and beautiful experiences that you can have trekking through tropical islands and really experiencing both mountains and the ocean combined. And the Kalalau Trail has some incredible features like Crawler's Ledge that are very unique to the experience of being on the Nepali coast. It is incredibly beautiful and so hard actually to get the permits to hike the Kalalau Trail. So I did invest the time and the energy and the money to actually purchase these permits way ahead of time. So if you're interested in booking the Kalalau Trail, remember that you do need to book 90 days in advance, and the permits go very quickly. They are released on Hawaii time, so for me I had to wake up at, I believe it was like 2 a.m. multiple days in a row to try and get these permits. So if you're interested in booking the Kalalau Trail, remember that you have to have permits if you want to hike the Kalalau Trail. No one is allowed to go past a certain point on trail without permits, and you will be ticketed. And also it's just respecting the island's laws and rules and maintaining the capacity on the trail that is respectful to the land and something that they can handle is really important to me as well. So with the news that the Kalalau Trail was closed, we decided to make some last minute shifts in our itinerary, and this is what we did instead of the Kalalau Trail. So we flew from Salt Lake City to Honolulu, and then from Honolulu to Lihue, and
Lehua.
This is the coolest little baggage claim because it's so tiny and outside. There's just 2 carousels. So.
Do we have to call the shuttle?
No, it's every 30 minutes out here. So we got Turo, which is essentially a like Airbnb for cars, so people can put their personal cars on there. We actually just went with a Turo through a car service, but it's just easier to get on the island, so that's the reason why we went that way. This was an arrival day, a setup day. We had some of our crew come in on Sunday and then some of our crew come in on Monday. So where did we stay on the trip? We decided to stay in Princeville for our trip. This is my favorite place to stay in Kauai. It's on the north side of the island. It's gorgeous. It has everything that you need. And in my opinion, it is the most beautiful part of the island. So we stayed in Princeville. It's about 45 minutes from Lihue Airport, and we actually decided to book a Turo. So this is my first experience with Turo, but Turo is a rental service, kind of like Airbnb, where people can put their cars on the app and other people can book through the app. One thing to know, if you are going to Kauai, getting an Uber or getting a taxi is not a reliable way to get around the island. So I would definitely recommend getting a rental car and or booking shuttles in advance to the places that you'd like to go. But rental cars are definitely worth it in my opinion. So we decided to book through Turo. We've had friends book through Costco, but definitely go with a car rental service. On Sunday, half of our group came into town, so we did pick them up from the airport and drove them to the Airbnb in Princeville, and the second half of our crew came in on Monday. So we have just arrived and are checking into our Airbnb. This is what we have going on for the crew. A gorgeous, huge house here with an outdoor barbecue. That is so sick, actually. Look at that. Huge living area. This is awesome.
Very nice, yeah.
Gotta turn the AC on. It's kind of toasty in here. We've got some bedrooms downstairs. Looks like a master here. Monday was the first official day of the Unbreakable Trek, and we decided to spend the morning at Hideway Beach, which is a walking distance from the Airbnb that we stayed at in Princeville. It's an incredible experience to be able to actually just walk to a sandy beach that you can wade in the water. There's not a lot of coral, so it's easier on your feet. And honestly, in my opinion, Hideway is just like the perfect experience to have within walking distance. It's a smaller private beach. It's not a huge spanning beach like some of the other beaches on the island, so it does require a little bit more planning. If you're going on busy times on Saturdays or Sundays, that would be something to know as well, but I absolutely loved it. Hideway Beach is about a mile from the Airbnb that we stayed at, so I decided to have everyone bring snacks, water, towels, etc. to make sure that we had everything that we needed while on the beach. The walk down to Hideway is a little bit sketchy. If you are wearing sandals, I definitely recommend wearing what I call adventure sandals. They're Tevas or some sort of sandal that has a back strap. You can do it in flip-flops and I'm sure that would be totally fine. But if you're not someone who has regularly hiked in sandals, I would definitely recommend wearing some sort of adventure sandal down. There are ropes, there are things that allow you to get down to Hideway Beach in a safe manner, but of course, just to be a little bit safer, that's what I would recommend. On Monday afternoon and evening, we picked up the rest of our crew from the airport and we had a team dinner at the Airbnb and did a full layout of everyone's gear. I wanted to make sure that everyone had what they needed on trail, to include some specific things for the adventure on Tuesday that we were going to embark on, which include purification tabs, filters, jet boils, gas, etc. And we did a full layout of our gear at the Airbnb to ensure that everyone was prepared for our Tuesday adventure. We had a 3 a.m. wake up time and a 4 a.m. leaving the Airbnb alarm to make sure that we made it to our next adventure super early. So we decided to backpack Waimea Canyon, and Waimea Canyon is absolutely stunning. It is the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. It is incredible. It almost feels like it's not supposed to be in Kauai, but it's so stunning. If you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, Waimea Canyon is adjacent to it, but it's more lush, it's more green, and it's honestly just a really incredible experience. We are starting our canyon trek. I think Waimea Canyon is incredibly underrated, and I'm so glad that we got to experience it by foot, backpacking through the canyon. From Princeville, the trailhead, which we use the KAUAI trailhead, to the Waimea Canyon Trail, is about 2 hours away. So we made sure that we left at 4 a.m. to be able to start our trek right around sunrise or right before sunrise to make sure that we weren't in our exposed sections in the heat of the day. Just like the Grand Canyon, there are sections that are super exposed, can get super, super hot, and with the additional factor of humidity can add to the overall difficulty of the hike. In addition to that, having a heavy pack can make it more difficult. So we made sure to start early to get out of the heat and to hike down in the canyons. It took us about 4 hours to get to Kalalau camp, which was around 5 miles from the initial trailhead. We took our time, we took tons of pictures, and we crossed the rivers with caution. So at this time of year in early September, we didn't experience any currents that were incredibly difficult to cross on the river crossings, but with 3 river crossings and changing conditions at all times, we had to be prepared for the worst. If you go at a different time of year, you might experience more intense currents on the river crossings, but for us, they were incredibly mild and easy to cross. The only thing that was a little bit more difficult was the slick rocks. So algae covers the rocks that are underneath the water, so obviously having good adventure sandals will help you cross the rivers, but poles can be an additional help for you as well. But for us, it was pretty smooth sailing, pretty easy to cross these rivers. Nothing too treacherous or dangerous at all. I did book Kalalau camp as soon as I found out the Kalalau trail was closed, so it was just 5 days before, and we were able to secure the camp permits. I will say online, it looks like Kalalau has a shelter and picnic tables, and it 100% does not. It is true backcountry backpacking. We had to clear out our own spaces to put our tents up. There were nuts that were falling from the trees that covered the ground, so it really truly was a authentic backcountry backpacking experience, which I love. And I thought it was so special to be able to share this with those who booked the Unbreakable Trek, because in the past for our Patagonia trip, everything was very bougie and laid out, and we didn't really have to put in a lot of work to create our own campsites, but this was a totally different experience. We really did have to work for it, and it was so gorgeous to be able to stay right by the river and have water sources to have access to, but also just so fun for us to be able to experience something totally different. That night it did rain on us, so making sure that you have good waterproof gear will really help you out. We decided to dip in the river in the rain because you can't keep me out of a water source that I can swim in. I absolutely love the water, and this was such a funny experience because it was kind of chilly, and we all just decided to go in and do a little cold plunge, which was so fun, and I definitely recommend doing. We spent the night in Hipla camp in our tents and then woke up early in the morning to once again get an early start before sunrise. So leaving camp around 6 a.m. to be able to hit the exposed sections at a reasonable time to where we weren't super exposed in the heat of the day is definitely what I would recommend as well. We left camp at 6 a.m. after getting some breakfast and filling up our waters and putting our purification tabs in there, and we set out for a higher elevation day. So the first day we had a lot of elevation loss. We did have around 500 feet of elevation gain, but the next day we had to get out of the canyon. So this was our big elevation gain day, right around 2,900 feet of gain. The hike out only took us around 3 hours. I think it was right around 2 hours and 45 minutes. We actually made great time on this day. I wanted to make sure that our group got out of the heat as quickly as we could, obviously while maintaining a pace that everyone could handle, but everyone made great time. Everyone was in great spirits, and we made it out of the canyon before it got too hot. Being able to experience the Waimea Canyon Trail was so special. We had such different landscapes, from the spanning views of the canyon itself to the lush forest, super tight trails with some overgrowth, and really experience what it felt like to be in a different environment in Kauai. Was so special to experience. After we got out of the canyon, we stopped at the fruit stand that was actually on our way outside of the canyon on the road, and it was so delicious. I mean, I think all of us experienced true Kauai farm fresh fruit. It was so delicious. I tried a dragon fruit for the first time. Dragon fruit for the first time, which was an interesting experience. I didn't necessarily love it, but the white pineapple and the mango was honestly some of the best fruit that I've ever had in my entire life. It could have been the exhaustion talking post backpacking out of the canyon, but it was so delicious. I definitely encourage you to experience all of the fruit stands that are in Kauai, because it really is so special and so delicious to have fruit that's actually coming from the island that is fresh from the locals. And yeah, it was just incredible. So definitely stop at the fruit stands outside of the Waimea Canyon Trail if you catch them while they're there. After getting all of our sweaty, stinky bodies into the car, we headed out to Kapaa. We didn't book our Princeville Airbnb until the next day. So just on a whim, after finding out that the Kalalau Trail was closed, I booked at a resort in Kapaa. The resort had a water slide, it had a pool that went almost like a lazy river around it, and honestly, it was such a beautiful experience. And on a whim deciding to do this, I was concerned that not everyone would enjoy having kind of a resort experience, but the consensus was that we all loved it. We loved having a little bit of a bougie experience after spending the night in the woods and having fun in the water slides, and being able to be on the beach and really soaking in what it felt like to be in Kauai was really beautiful, and I would definitely do that again. So the reason we stayed in Kapaa for Wednesday night was because on Thursday morning, I booked us kayak rentals on the Wailua River to be able to do a kayak and hike experience together. If you do anything in Kauai that is an experience and an adventure, I definitely recommend doing this. I think being able to have a full-on adventure where you're kayaking and then you're hiking. We did not have a tour guide because Tyler and I have actually done this before, but you can book through a tour guide if you're interested in doing so. We booked 4 double kayaks to be able to kayak on the Wailua River, and the stats of the kayak adventure were right around 4 miles round trip. So make sure if you're booking this that you are prepared for actual upper body strength day. What's so special about this experience is the access to the trailhead. The trail itself walking is only about 1.5 miles. So once you get out of the kayaks, after kayaking for 2 miles, it's only about 1.5 miles of a walk. They actually put in boardwalks, which they didn't have before. So the trail that Tyler and I experienced in the past that was super muddy, super slick, was super mild. So hiking into Secret Falls is so special. Once again, this is totally dependent on what time of year you go, but we only experienced a little trickle of the waterfall itself, but it was so special. The swimming hole is so enjoyable, and we were actually one of the first people to get to Secret Falls itself because we didn't book a tour guide. So if you book a tour guide, you're going to be going at a time where there's several different groups going. So if you're interested in having a little bit more of a private experience and you can easily follow GPX or all trails to be able to get you to the trail itself, I would definitely recommend going on your own or with someone that has been there before. After taking a long dip, we got back in our kayaks. We kayaked 2 miles out and we headed back to Princeville after leaving the trailhead. For the rest of the evening and the afternoon, we spent our day at Queen's Bath. This was another hike that we could access while actually staying in our Airbnb. It was only about half a mile from our Airbnb, which is super special. Parking can be an absolute nightmare for those who are coming from out of town to access Queen's Bath, so please keep that in mind. There are signs everywhere in the Princeville community saying that if you park, you will get fined and you will get towed. So definitely make sure that you are planning in advance to be able to access that if you're interested in going to Queen's Bath. But the actual hike down to Queen's Bath is very mild, pretty short. Queen's Bath is really special because you have this really dark black rock against the raging and dangerous ocean, and the waves are crashing up and over the black rock. It is incredibly beautiful to experience. This is a really dangerous area for those who are deciding to jump. I would definitely avoid jumping in Queen's Bath itself. Queen's Bath is a place where the swell will come in and it will take you back out into the ocean. And some people do jump there. I just 100% do not recommend that. We actually got to experience a swimming hole a little bit further past Queen's Bath itself, and this was a really safe spot to swim and jump, and we got to experience that, and I think that was 100% worth it. Though at different times of the year, you might be able to access that and you might not at others. So please keep that in mind when you are visiting Queen's Bath. But I definitely recommend Queen's Bath for your itinerary if you're interested in viewing something so gorgeous and beautiful and really special to Kauai. Friday was our final day of the Unbreakable Trek, so these were our departures for the day. We did have some crew going out in the morning and some crew going out in the evening. For those heading out in the evening, we decided to take the day pretty chill. We went to Honolulu. We decided to pop around the shops a little bit, get some food there, and spend the day at the beach before the crew decided to head out. Honolulu area is so gorgeous, and it's really close to Princeville. It's only about 5 minutes. So if you're looking for something to do kind of just outside of Princeville that's a little bit different, that has incredible beach access, Honolulu is definitely that for me. So with just 5 days, we got to experience so much while on the island, and there are a few things that I would definitely go back to do. Some more trails to access the Nepali coast is something that I definitely would love to do if we had another opportunity to go back to Kauai and adventure in Kauai. But all in all, I feel very satisfied with our trip, and I think our group in general had so much fun and definitely got a full Kauai experience while on the island. As far as food stops go, we ate a lot at the Airbnb just because we had a lot of people who had dietary restrictions. I have celiac, and for another story, potentially I actually got celiac poisoning while on the island. But for those who are interested in knowing about what we ate while we were on the island, we ate a lot at home. We had some dinners and some lunches at home, but some of our top spots were Sunrise Cafe, which we found to be so delicious, Lana's Cafe, which had incredible fresh fruit, and their hospitality is just absolutely insane, so incredible. Wishing Well Coffee, absolutely insane matcha and so delicious. Definitely recommend stopping by there if you're in Kauai. They actually hand out glass jars with their drinks, so they don't have any like throwaway cups, and I thought this was really special and really unique to that experience, but so delicious. Definitely recommend stopping in there. And so many incredible food trucks with an array of different choices that you can make, so I definitely recommend stopping in one of those. We had shawarma on one day. We had some fresher alternatives as well on a different day. They have a donut truck. I would definitely recommend checking out some of those while you're on the island. So that was our itinerary while staying in Kauai after our Kalalau trek was canceled. I hope those things were helpful for you and you took something away from this video. We will be back to our regularly scheduled training program after this video, but I hope that you enjoyed watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out. But until next time, stay unbreakable.